No, I want you to talk to us, Reid, if you don't mind. In the past 15 years and the rise of syndicators, these barbarians that came into the market and started to compete with institutional investors,
Yeah.
with their small retail investors investing fractional amounts to comprise the total equity needed for the deal. So maybe you can talk to us about that, please.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, the first time I came across a syndicator was probably 10 years ago, and I'll never forget what he said. He said, if it's a good multifamily deal, I buy it. If it's a bad multifamily deal, I syndicate it. And so, I mean, and by good and bad just means expensive or a good, a good deal as far as, the value of the property. So it was an interesting concept in the fact that he would say, because I can just fee the heck out of these deals with an acquisition fee, a disposition fee, there's a mortgage fee. I've even seen the syndicators have like a fee if they give back the investors 50% of their initial investment, which is a pretty interesting thing, which I think most of the investors are happy to pay a fee if they get 50% of the money back immediately. So it's been interesting to see the rise of a number of syndicators. I've never seen more syndicators than I have in the last 2 years in the business. So it's exciting because there's just a ton of capital out there, throwing the money at multifamily deals. And it's interesting to see the different execution strategies and also see the similarities between a lot of the syndicators out there.
Yeah, and let's talk about that dynamic that exists between brokers and syndicators, because syndicators are, I heard not too long ago where a sponsor, another term for the general partner or syndicator, was had to explain to brokers what syndication is and what is this idea of all these investors. Talk to us about that dynamic, because yes, syndicators these days are competing with institutional investors. On the last two deals that we purchased, we competed with other institutions who were also had put offers on the property. But how is the view from a broker? Do you guys right away feel like, hey, that there might be a chance that the syndication might not be able to raise the equity needed? Do you do more due diligence as soon as you hear it's a syndication, or compared to Blackstone putting an offer on one of your deals? Talk to us about that, if you may.
Yeah, well, it's a great question, because what we typically do, especially on deals that we do a call for offers, if we get, anywhere from a dozen to 2 or 3 dozen offers in, we put everything into a grid matrix, show not only the price, but all of the other terms, the type of buyer they are, where their equity is coming from. And when we get it down to, maybe the top 3 to 6 buyers, what we will do is we'll ask them for references of their last 3 deals that they purchased. And by references, we're looking at the lender on the deal, the broker on the deal, and most importantly, the seller of the last deal. Because I've never come across a seller in 20 years in this business that if they had a bad experience with a buyer, they were quiet about it. So, that's something that we do on every deal. It's not just, syndicators, but they would fall in that same bucket, and it would be something that we would ask. We want to understand exactly where your funds are coming from. Where are you with the equity raise? I mean, a lot of people have discretionary funds available. Some people are, need to raise it. I mean, we actually had one deal that was a 231 unit deal here in Illinois that I saw. I knew they were syndicators. I saw them trying to raise money on LinkedIn for the deal that they had under contract of mine, because they're connected to me on LinkedIn, with about 2 days left in the due diligence.
Oh, no.
So don't be trying to raise money on LinkedIn 2 days before your due diligence is up. You better.
To their defense, at times that last amount, the syndicators could jump in and fund it themselves. So you might have like a couple million left there. You're trying to push it out, but you might have to step in and do it.